my friends, let me say again, welcome to the viewers and the followers and the subscribers of SosoFat Television. You know, over the last 2 years, we have been pushing the SosoBone media network. And as of September 4th, we launched the SosoFat Television platform. And my phone has been lighting up because people say Trevor is crazy as usual. First, Trevor come with SosoBone. And after him finish explaining what bone mean to diaspora people who have lost touch with their culture, he came out with SosoFat. So, okay, so it is quite an conversation out there, my friend. So this afternoon, I have none other than Anne-Marie Grant. And of course, Anne-Marie Grant is no stranger to the diaspora, to the Caribbean community, to Jamaica. She has been one of the most consistent presence that I know in our diaspora, in every capacity, from what she is committed to do individually to what other people do. If Andrea is not there, then we figure that they missed the boat, okay? Because Anne-Marie Grant, if Anne-Marie Grant is not there, they missed the boat, okay? Because Anne-Marie Grant is a brand. When we see her, we see the representative and the torchbearer and the face of the University of the West Indies in our diaspora. Okay, wow. That is what I see when I see my friend Anne-Marie Grant. Okay, so Anne-Marie, you can't escape it,
Trevor, good evening to you, good afternoon. Happy New Year to you, Happy New Year to your family. My best regards to Mrs. Smith in particular, okay. And your son.
Samuel.
Yes, Samuel. I have very pleasant memories of the amazing and wonderful hospitality that was shown to be by your family. And good evening to your listeners. I was shrinking because all those accolades was weighing me down. And I'm very, now that I know that your marketing, I'm now convinced that your marketing is so excellent. I'm going to have to ask you to negotiate a raise for me.
Well, I had that in mind.
Yes, because it is needed. It is needed. But thank you for this opportunity just to talk. As we were talking before we came on, we decided to record.
Yes.
You know that you're one of the people. We don't talk as often as we would like, but Lord help me when we get on the phone.
Yes, long talk.
Long argument, long conversations. And one of the things that I mentioned that we share in common is our ability to meander through so many different topics that are of interest to us as people in the Caribbean diaspora and people who are interested in the development agenda, not only here in the United States, but what happens at home in Jamaica and in the wider Caribbean. The University of the West Indies, as you know, I am the ED for the foundation. We are a nonprofit here that our primary mission is really to provide access to higher education for individuals who are financially challenged. Them poor. Let's not, beat around the bush. But it goes beyond that. I see my job as being an agent to facilitate hope.
Right.
To facilitate hope in the prospects and the future of the development and the prosperity and the possibilities of the Caribbean.
Yes.
Whether that Caribbean is physically in the geographical space or it is transported to where we are now in the diaspora. And I think that although higher education is not the only solution to our social, economic, geopolitical challenges, but I am a disciple of the fact that it is one of the best routes to social, economic, personal empowerment and progress. And not enough of us in the Caribbean have access to higher education. And I don't know if your audience is as familiar with the statistics as I am. It's something that haunts me daily. I always challenge my friends and relatives. When you go home to the Caribbean, the first 10 persons that you speak to, whether you just come off a plane, or you're walking a one hotel, or you're walking a one rum bar, or you're walking a one jerk place, or whatever it is, whatever your first encounter is, the first 10 persons that you meet, one way of determining, of getting a feel about access to higher education in the Caribbean is if you ask the first 10 persons that you meet if they have higher education. Higher education meaning beyond secondary, as in college. I'm talking about college and university, the first 10 persons that you meet. And that for me is a litmus test. No, me not expect everybody in the world to walk up now with university degree. And let me be clear, while I do believe that the University of the West Indies is amongst the best universities in the world,
Well, that has been confirmed.
right? As a proud graduate myself, I'm also a proud graduate of two other universities in the United States.
Okay.
For different graduate degrees. But the fact is that that example that I just gave is for me the litmus test. And do that when you are at home here in the US. When you walk to the Sheraton and the Hilton, or the Marriott Marquis, or any of our many other hotels that are peopled and properly used by Caribbean people. The Kimberly, we're another UWI alum is a member of the senior management team there. The front decks, according to my granny, the front decks, people them Trevor. It's either they have associate or graduate degree. The front decks people who are checking in and I say, Mr. Simit, your room is 6A on the second floor. The lobby is to your left and the lounge is to your right. And I'll let them tell you, but they need one college degree to tell you that. Because they need to, beyond just giving the instructions, Trevor, they have been taught to understand that this guest is not just somebody who is passing through.
Right.
That this guest here whose dollars are being spent and the experience is a part, a microcosm of a greater economic experience for the community that they live, for the industry that they serve. No, when you're in the Caribbean, by and large, the people who are providing that service, 99.9% of them have not been to university, whether it's UWI or in the case of Jamaica UTech, or in the case of Jamaica NCU, or in the case of Trinidad TSTT, or whatever it is, or any other university, because a lot of our people do go to universities abroad and return home. But guess what? They do just as good a job. So what does that tell us? If not better.
Or that our culture trains them.
Exactly. And it means, therefore, that our people, Trevor, are just as capable and are just as bright and as intelligent with little or nothing and can compete amongst the best in the world. And the only reason that we are not able to ascend progress, the rate of progress at a faster rate, is because our people are poor. Them not have the money.
Lack of resources.
Them not have the money, the financial resources, and to a lesser extent, the social impetus, an ethos which says that I deserve to be able to pursue my dreams, to be the best that I can be. Because we do not socialize our children like that. When I grew up, and I was very lucky, I'm from Westmoreland, I was blessed. I had a mother who was a teacher and a father who thought the world revolved around me. Right? And so I was poor, poor. My parents tell me then we'd have two bicycles, one fixed wheel and a ladies wheel. Maybe that's why me can't ride bicycle, because me decide to not drop off a none.
If your parents had bicycle, they were not poor. If they only had a donkey. Because you see, when you have a donkey, you have to feed the donkey. But when you have a bicycle, you don't have to feed the bicycle.
You have means. But by the time I became of common sense age, my parents had a car. But the point is that even now in our socialization of our younger generation in the Caribbean, we do not bring them up with the possibilities that are out there for them. And I understand that, because if if they must struggle, they must go water, they must go standpipe still in many rural places in Jamaica to catch water, right? Many places in Jamaica still don't have internal toilet facility, no potable water, still challenged with just domestic access to water. So you know, and you don't need to be a smarty person to know that Malthus theory says, you know, you need to think of food, shelter, clothing, the other
Mm.
S word first before you can think of all the other
Yes,
altruistic things.
yes,
So
yes.
I can understand that, but I don't believe that it should be a barrier. And you know, you brought your kids up. You've worked in corporate America. You understand that the average American from elementary, the conversation is about college.
Yes.
And so their choice is whether to go or not to go. Not about whether they are eligible for college or they deserve a college education or that they're good enough for college. It is all despite their poverty because FAFSA give everybody money. Mark you, it could be like me who still pay back the college loan at almost 80. But the
Mm.
fact is that you are socialized with the fact with that notion that you have access to challenge your intellect to pursue your ambitions
Mhm.
as best as you can. And that is what I want for my country. I want our young people to be socialized into the concept that they can do anything that they want to do.
Mm. But,
And
it-
that the
but
world is an open space.
but you see, the question is, we seem to see a lot of organizations who, I would say, seek to emulate, you know, some of the things, and I say some of the things that UWI you're doing with the UWI platform. Because while I respect everything they're doing, I know that we classify what they do as a band-aid, while what you're doing as a cure. Okay? Because you are not responding to an immediate an hurricane need that popped up, a new roof, a new chemistry lab, a new this or a new that. You are long term. You're running a marathon. Other people are running sprints. Okay.
I
And,
I
and
see
I
that.
want I want to point that out because people need to understand the difference, okay, between a program that is entrenched long term for the benefit of our people, more than things that is can be done when somebody has the time, okay, or somebody has the inclination, or somebody calls somebody and asks them to do something, okay.
And and I agree with you. And this is not, and I know this is not to be disrespectful to the many other
No,
nonprofit.
no, no, no. They are the ambulance who come and take our people to the emergency ward, and the hospital now they
Absolutely,
take care of it.
absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. And I am so glad you mentioned that because to be perfectly honest, that is how I think about providing access, in facilitating increased access to higher education. That it is about making an impact on breaking the cycle of generational poverty
Yes.
amongst our people. No, remember, say me tell you, I did grow up with my granny for a little while when my mother was in college. So
Uh-huh.
I am quite aware that it is not a magic wand. And
Yeah.
I'm quite aware that it is not going to solve, like I said, it's not a panacea to our social and economic ills. But I do believe that the ability to understand, to be able to learn a discipline, to be able to critically, I remember say also before me finish that statement there, that and everybody who go to university, whether university of the West Indies or the other one, then when we go to Bright, we not say that you're intellectually smart, because all of we go and you see your name on a bowl of cake, you still can't identify it. But the
Mhm.
point is, we're talking about the law of averages, and we're talking about the majority. The majority of people who have had this opportunity to access higher education ideally come out with these skills of discernment where they can critically analyze. And I always go back to simple examples in my life to illustrate how I feel about the importance of higher education or just education in general. I grew up in Westmoreland. One of my grandparents sold in Savannah Lamar Market. It was an experience because she always come home with mint ball and greater cake.
But hold on. That was the best thing at that time in our country,
How
because that
low?
because that is what people are saying. I want to be an independent small business. And we never had malls, okay? We had markets. My grandfather was a farmer, and yes, our goods went to the Coronation Market. And if we never couldn't do that, we could not generate cash. All right.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that was the breeding ground for
It
small
was
business.
one of the best times of my life. I have such pleasant memories of that experience. But one of the things that I say about education, whether it is University of the West Indies or elsewhere, is the relevance of the education that we provide for our people. So you have a stall and you sell orange, lime, hot beer, banana, dragon stout.
And
And
don't forget, Karamiyaki Garland State Market.
Caribbean Akigali. And in our even if in our secondary schools we educate our people about how to do things like that, we believe so we buy it for $10 and we sell it for $12, we make a $2 profit. And that's
Yeah.
not the case, because we have not taken into consideration all of the things that go in exactly. And what do we do when we get the $2? So we think that the $2 now is profit. We eat it out.
Start from scratch again.
You with me? And the replacement cost is usually 10 cents more. So you have to pay $10, 10 cents, and that come out of the $12, and you don't even realize it. And then there's just your time, your energy, all the other things. If you use light to keep the beer cool and you buy ice, whatever it is, just to put up the liquor stall, the piece of board where you take 2 nail where you buy wherever. Those other things. And so until our people and that is why now you sit down there all the time with the hot beer. And here is a mind that has conceived entrepreneurship, sales and marketing skills, customer service, and we could go on and on, but has not been exposed to the opportunity of how to expand this. Now, it expects everybody to go open a Mega Mart, or what the other one in a Jamaica name now, I don't remember the name. Or you're going to open a Walmart or a Target or a Target, as we say, and have a chain. But the point is that intrinsic in our people, Trevor, is this ability for entrepreneurship and innovation. And it's just lying there waste without an ability for it to be harnessed.
I'm going to tell you, I used to run into trouble.
Not its only place.
I used to run into trouble on the radar program when I talk about the fact that we have some of the best business people in the world, unfortunately, and they're great marketers, great at presenting their product, great at staking out their territory. Unfortunately, a lot of time we said it was marijuana on the corner. Okay. But those are businessmen. Okay. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I mean, and to say, we're not saying, and certainly I am not saying that everybody needs to have this high level of sophistication or anything. All I'm saying is let us provide more than, so the average in the English speaking Caribbean is about 20% of our population with access to higher education, which is well below that of the developed countries of like the United States and the Britons and the Germanys of the world. And we recognize that we are developing countries. And so it is assumed that we are, given our challenges of economies of scale and scope, we are not able to attain those heights. But I do believe that technology, experience at the political level, the fact that we live in a digital age is not being utilized enough to get us up the curve, for us to make that leap and that significant change, that we don't have to go step by step. That we can leapfrog so many of the steps to take our people to a place where we can create a community, a society, a country in which our citizens have a better chance of prosperity at an individual level. Right. I don't believe that you'd need to go through every single pain and step that other countries have gone through in order to progress. And I don't think, honestly, that successive governments have really given the kind of attention to the potential of our people, the destination where we ought to go, and to plan in a way that takes us beyond the very thing that you talked about. We only a Billy Bridge now, so that we can cross over it, and next thing it wash away. And we are the only ones who get to cross it. I mean, I've been in New York for almost 3 decades. Second Avenue Tunnel, what do you call it? Grand Central just opened the other day. It has been building for hundreds of years, 100 or so years, 65 years. And so I would like to see a Caribbean where we build infrastructure, we build systems and societies that we build it with the intention that we are not going to be around to benefit from its outcome, but it is going to benefit generations and future. And that is what my goal and mission about higher education is.
You know, to come to that point you just said there, I remember when I used to talk about my grandfather, who I spent a lot of time growing up with. I said even when he was 79 and going into his 80s, he was still planting coconut trees and mango trees. And
Amen.
he knew when he were planting them that he would never pick any
Amen.
of those trees.
Amen.
But
Amen.
the discipline and the culture is you gotta keep on planting.
Amen.